Let me come back to Andrew. I mean, there's been reporting from the New York Times this morning that David Pecker is expected to be the first witness. Lisa Rubin, our colleague, predicted that and kind of outlined why that would be the case. But there's also been ongoing reporting and speculation about Trump testifying. I mean, that seems like a disaster as a non-lawyer to me. But explain to us kind of what the prosecution may be thinking in that case, if it's just Trump wanting to do it himself, what the impact could be if he decided to testify and they decided to have him do that.
Well, first, everyone should know that a defendant like Trump does not have to testify. He has no burden whatsoever, and the jury will be told that, and they cannot use the fact that he chooses not to testify in any way against him. That's true of any defendant, and so it's true for Donald Trump as well. He, though, has the right to testify, regardless of what his lawyers may strongly advise him. I am confident that lawyers like Susan Necheles are going to throw their bodies in front of the witness stand, trying to get him not to take the stand. And if you are the prosecutors, you are just licking your chops thinking, fine, you want to take the stand? Great. The amount of cross-examination material, Jen, as you know from having watched him and covered him, is, thousands and thousands and thousands of prior inconsistent statements. That's a polite way of saying lie. Yeah. Their prior bad acts. So his taking the stand would really be a death knell, I think, to the case. But he is unpredictable and has a lot of hubris. Just look at the E. Jean Carroll case, where he, by all accounts, decided after the first trial that he could do it better than his lawyers, and the judgment went from $5 million to $85 million. So if he proceeds in that sort of mode, I don't think he's going to be helping himself.
Yeah, I mean, some of the reporting has suggested, probably won't surprise either of you, that prosecutors want to cross-examine him about recent lawsuits he's lost, like the E. Jean Carroll case about attacks he's made on women, which certainly, if you're in the jury, that's a lot of context to understand. So let me ask you, Neil, tomorrow everybody convenes at 9:30, opening statements we expect, maybe some time to hear from a witness. They are breaking at 2 o'clock because of Passover. What are you watching for tomorrow?
Well, the first thing I'm watching for is the judge's rulings on what's called the Sandoval hearing. That basically is the judge going to say, here's what I'm going to allow the prosecutors to talk to Donald Trump about should he testify. Do they talk about Jean Carroll? Do they talk about all these other women, all these other lies, the things that Andrew was referring to? And it's for that reason, among so many others, I think there's no chance that Donald Trump is going to testify. I mean, if his legal team had an unofficial mascot, it'd be a chicken. And there's no chance that, I think, reality of Earth, that he's going to. So that's the first thing I'm watching for. And then I'm going to watch for Pecker and how the prosecution introduces him and tells that story, because it's a remarkable story that, has been chalked up to, it's about Stormy Daniels stuff. No, Trump is basically capturing part of the media, the part that he's most worried about, and paying them off for their silence. That is a remarkable thing. It interfered with the 2016 election in a massive way, and that's the story we'll hear tomorrow.
Hey, everyone. MSNBC has a new and improved app. You'll get real-time alerts and analysis, live blogs, in-depth essays, video highlights, and the best 2024 election coverage. Download the new MSNBC app. Here's how to do it. You tap on the App Store on your phone. You hit search on the bottom right corner. You type in MSNBC. You click on the MSNBC app. You click on Get or the cloud icon and enjoy it.